Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of my live tea tasting. I'm gonna continue on with the pu'er themed month this month, and I have decided because this one is gonna be a bit of a special one. I'm gonna continue on for the rest of the month. So yes, I did officially make up my mind. This will be a pu'er based themed month. And today's theme is gonna be very special. Today's Snea, welcome. Today's blend is going to be special because it's one that I picked up, I think, sometime last winter, um, from when I went to the what was it? The on the road. I'm trying to remember on the road to Tea something. I cannot remember. It was the Bill Waddington um, lecture that we went to, and it was such a great. It was just such a great experience, and I was graced with a little bit of some of his favorite kind of pu'er. Mrs. Zhao's Sheng pu'er 2019, and this one I tasted before, had a sample of it. It was out of this world. So I wanted to feature it tonight. Unfortunately, there's going to be no website or link that you can get it from. Because it was sold directly to him, but I believe you can probably, I'll have to look it up after. You can probably get it from the Tea Source website, so I'll look for it. Fingers crossed, hopefully I'll find some. But yeah, this is going to be an excellent pu'er to show. But this is, as I was talking about last week, this is going to be a Sheng pu'er. And the Sheng pu'er is what is, Cab, welcome! Sheng pu'er is going to be less oxidized than the heavy duty pu'ers that I normally like to drink. So this one is going to be more on the side of a green and white tea, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be any less delicious. So I'm going to go ahead and try some now. I'll talk about the steeping instructions a little bit later, but this one I was just falling in love with the scent of it. So I'm going to go ahead and take my first sip. Oh, that is really nice. It's like a silkier version of the pu'er that I had last time. Um, it's creamier. It's wow, you love the color. Oh yeah, take a look at that. It's really nice. I mean, it's not being captured very well by the camera. More so on Twitch than it is on Facebook for some reason. Facebook makes it look a little bit darker than it actually is. But this is like a very light green. You can see right through it. It's very lightly oxidized. You're gonna have less of a heft in the taste. Uh, but take a look at this. Now, as I mentioned last week, um, the pu'ers, the stronger pu'ers are going to be darker. This is a very green, almost white pu'er. That's what makes it a Sheng pu'er. And you'll notice, yeah, the colors. Miriam, welcome. The colors are a lot lighter. You can see this is green, kind of yellowish, actually. Um, oh, whoops, forgot to show it to Twitch. My Twitch buddies. You can tell this is a lot lighter than last week's. It's also a lot lighter smelling. The scent is more on the greenish side. You're gonna get a little bit vegetation. Hey Ma, welcome. You're gonna get more vegetation on that end. You're gonna get um, a lighter taste, um, but you still have that kind of pungency. Teresa, welcome. I see that you're hanging out there. But yeah, you're gonna get like a very very light pungency as opposed to the pungency of a really strong, darker pu'er. But this one tastes really creamy, really silky. I'm really enjoying the mouthfeel too. Um, it's got a very slow burn. I'm still like on the tail end of it. I can still semi slightly taste it. But as I continue to breathe, Pops, welcome. As I continue to breathe, I lose some of that a little bit more easily than I did last week. So it's a slow burn, but it's not instant. Now I was playing around with the steeping a little bit, because last time I tried it myself, I messed up. Um, I oversteeped it a bit because I treated it too much like a green tea and not enough like a white tea. So this time I understeeped it quite a bit, and I think it really paid off. This time I did around 100 and I want to say 190 degrees. It's not exact because my electric kettle doesn't do it to the number, but I set it to green, and that usually goes between 180 190 degrees. And I did it for 2 minutes. I stayed and watched it after the 2 minute mark for like maybe 10 20 seconds. But being that diligent really paid off because the taste of it is nice and refreshing. I don't have any astringency at all, which is a beautiful thing for to say about a pu'er, because then you're enjoying all the taste with none of the bitterness to it. This one has like a really nice mouthfeel to it as well. It's kind of like a melted butter that it just tends to coat the tongue slightly, and then just kind of melt into your palate. Um, there's not a huge distinction in the pu'er side, so it's a very light pu'er. You're not really getting a question. Does pu'er grow in different regions of China or a single region? Traditionally, I would say traditionally it's only one. Sophia, welcome. It's only one region. I believe it's the Yunnan province. Um, I'm completely blanking out. I believe it's Yunnan. Um, Not to say that any place won't do it, but any place that does, it's considered taboo to call it a pu'er, even if it does have all of the properties of a pu'er. It's kind of like champagne. You can't get champagne anywhere else but from Champagne, France. Um, Anywhere else they can't really call it a pu'er, even though it is by every mean a pu'er. Mm. I'm really enjoying this because it's a lot creamier than any other pu'er I've had ever, really. I usually gravitate towards the darker pu'ers with the heavier flavors and the more savory side, but this one has has a very light texture to it. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. This is really like refreshing and kind of um, it's refreshing, and it's kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? It's very it's very light. There's a specific word that I'm looking for that I can't really place my finger on, but it's naturally sweet. It's pretty velvety, which is really strange because normally that velvety property you get it from the white whiskers on a silver needle or a white tea. This one is really not a white tea. It's really not a silver needle by any point. Um, but by that same token, it's got the properties of it. So that comes out of the lack of oxidation. Probably attributing some of it to the what is it called, the fermentation. So it's a nice delicate balance. I'm feeling like this is a really well made blend. And now you'll see, I'll show you guys, there's not a huge difference from the dry leaf versus the steeped leaf. As you see, let me pull this one out. These leaves are not buds, it's full leaf. I'm trying to like let it, I'll show you as much as I can, but my fingers are a little bit big. But yeah, you can see there's no bud in there. It's just the leaf. And that's well aged. Well, not well aged, I should say. Well, dang it, fermented. I keep. Rachel, welcome. I keep stumbling over the word fermentation because you have the fermentation, you have the oxidation. Yeah, it's it can get pretty bad sometimes, but I'm sure you guys can forgive me. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the Thomas taste, and I really want to do the Thomas taste on this one because there's a lot here that I'll want to kind of absorb and think about. Now I'm letting it sit on my tongue just a little while. And I'm getting a really nice, creamy, buttery kind of flavor to it. And it's not as vegetal as it was last time. Last time I messed it up. It's not as vegetal this time around. This time it's kind of creamy and silky. It's not like a typical pu'er at all, and it's not typical of green or white teas, and it's really hard to like classify into any kind of subject because it's kind of defying all of the all of the things that you would associate with a pu'er. I mean, like, first of all, usually people associate pu'er with a strong taste. This is not strong. With a light pu'er, you'll still have the pungentness of it, and it's not that pungent. There's still an essence of that pungency. Yeah. There's still an essence of it, but it's not like overpowering. It's not. You have to kind of search for it a little bit. But this is more like you don't really get a buttery kind of flavor from any kind of pu'er, and that's a good thing because I mean that kind of classifies it in its own sense. So you can usually taste the pu'er and say, yeah, that's a pu'er. But this one is a little bit harder to determine, only because it makes you think and it makes you search, and I can really appreciate that. It sits on the tongue for quite some time, and as I'm continuing to talk or as you breathe, it kind of swirls around and very slowly dissipates. There's a kind of environment inside your mouth that seems to hold on to the flavor and let it go slowly. So this is like, it's really good that way. You can enjoy the flavor farther, or rather longer, and not have to really. You can appreciate it for what it is. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, you don't necessarily have to say this is good for a pu'er. This is just really good. It's super smooth, super velvety, and I'm really enjoying it. And I think as far as pu'ers go, this one in particular is very distinct in its flavor. It's not typical of Sheng pu'ers. I've had quite a few Sheng pu'ers. And while they are all light, you get this kind of expectation, that you are tasting the how long was it aged? Oh yeah, this was picked in 2019, so it's only been a year. It's a pretty young pu'er. It hasn't been aged very long, if at all, because we actually got this in 2019. So I would say if it was aged at all, it would be maybe a couple months, and then it was sent out. But I mean, that's still technically a pu'er, which I mean, like normally people age it for as long as possible, and then they drink it once it's like absorbed all of that pungency. This one, not. I mean, it's very very light. Hasn't been aged very long, so you're not gonna get that typical pu'er kind of flavor, but it pays off in the end. I'm really thinking that um, I'm really thinking that this could stand to be aged longer. Definitely, I'm not going to age this one because I mean, frankly, if like for me, uh, I'm going to appreciate it now. Does the flavor of the Terra Noir affect the taste? Absolutely, but that goes with every tea. You know, teas are they're very absorbent of the elements that they're exposed to. That's why you can have two completely different tasting teas that were grown within 1 mile of each other. You know, I mean, you have teas that are grown at low at low what's the word I'm looking for? Not velocities. It's the low heights. I know there's another word for it, but I'm trying to remember it. Elevations. There's teas that go altitudes, exactly. There's lower altitudes and the higher altitudes, and you'll have different kinds of soil, different kinds of winds, different kinds of even exposed to the water. The water has a huge effect on how a tea is developed. I mean, when like the difference between green tea in Japan versus green tea in China. The green tea in China is very much land based. You'll have you'll have elements of the earth. You'll have elements of the wind. You'll have elements of the minerals. But green tea in Japan is grown by the sea. So it absorbs a lot of the seawater. You'll have saltiness. You'll have kind of a seaweed flavor. And on top of that, it's steamed. So that's just going to bring out the seawater even more. That being said, this particular pu'er is very indicative of the care that went into it. Um, it had to have it had to be carefully grown and processed because you're not going to get a really light pu'er by being careless. So this is actually a testament of really good work. Mm. And I love how it just sits in the back of your throat and kind of just like permeates. You know, you get like this really nice um, sitting on your palate. I'm getting like a nice softness, like kind of like a pillow or a mattress as I breathe in and out. And it's a nice texture to have, especially at the end of the day. This is like kind of relaxing. Generally, once again, this is going to be semi caffeinated, not too heavily caffeinated because it hasn't been oxidized very much. So this is the kind of tea that you'll have like in the afternoon or the evening and really like to settle in. Excuse me. Ooh, this is really good. I'm thoroughly enjoying this one. Ah, I gotta say, like, this is really incredibly buttery. Like, I'm really sorry that I messed it up last time because last time, like, I drank it to spite myself. This time, I'm like really enjoying it, and wow, all I gotta say is wow. This is really blowing me away right now. Whew. Okay, so questions, comments, anything you want to bring up? Now's the time. I'm going to answer the Teresa question. What would I pair this with? As Zam, welcome. As far as foods are concerned, I think that this would go very well with maybe a seafood or something light. Um, maybe, you know what? If I was to say maybe a snack, I'd say popcorn, but not heavily buttered or flavored popcorn. Um, just regular plain popcorn, maybe slightly salted, but not too salted because it would probably throw off the taste of the vegetation a little bit. But this very light tasting popcorn would go very well with this. Um, Maybe a salad, maybe some fruit, something like that will really elevate the flavor quite a bit. Um, I mean, this is really kind of a universal tea because it's not very strong in anything. Um, I think it has the potential to even go a little bit heavier and say maybe a salmon, you know, like a nice roasted salmon or yeah, like a baked salmon with with maybe like a peanut sauce or a soy sauce, something like that. That would go very well. Mm. I'm totally digging this. Like, I have to admit, I am totally digging this. This is I would say this is one of my favorite puars so far. Um, and I've had quite a few, not like a huge amount, because puer is tends to be expensive and it tends to be um, a little bit difficult to get a hold of sometimes. You have to go to places that actually know what puer is and how to how to steep it, because it can be very. I mean, this one is very delicate, and it screwed me over last time. This time, I 100%. Let's see. Okay, announcements. Ah, my God, where to start? Oh, you know what? I didn't say it last week because I didn't have it in hand last week. But the incredible news is here, and I can officially say it. I've already shared this on the group, but I want to say, as of last month, I don't have an exact date, but as of last month, the community trademark is officially mine. So we're going to be doing some big things now that we have the say so. So yeah, we're celebrating. Uh, I'm just absolutely loving it, and I'm thrilled that this has already gone through. I'm looking forward to new, bigger, better things coming up. Um, yeah, but we're gonna start moving forward very shortly. As for upcoming events, the Nomad Tea Festival is just around the corner. I'm still waiting for the link to send you guys, but once it's coming, I encourage you guys to absolutely start registering and hanging out. You're gonna meet some interesting people at my event, getting to know your besties, and you know we're gonna discuss your experiences and everything that draws you to tea, and just sit down, relax, and learn some things. Because like last time, I've learned a lot, and we made some really good friends, and hopefully we'll be making a lot more. So yeah, tune in definitely, and once I get that link for you guys, I'll send it over as soon as possible, and we'll get the party started. Because actually, it is literally a tea party. Um, then after that, in November, is going to be the first weekend of November is the International Tea Festival. So we're going to be doing that one. That's going to be a 2 day event. Its registration is free for the floor, but you'll have to pay extra if you want a swag bag and or if you want to attend some of the lessons, or if you want to attend some of the lectures or anything like that. I highly encourage that you do because you're going to learn so much from them. I'm gonna learn so much from them because after everything is done, I'm gonna tune in and see what was pre-recorded and check it out myself. Mm. Oh my god, I love how the cooler it gets, it's getting even like butterier, if that's if that's a word. I'm getting like this taco. Welcome. I yes, I would not appreciate that. Uh, the I would really like the butteriness of it is super. It's really really nice. Like it's sitting down on your tongue, and it just kind of like permeates. Um, yeah, like I'm trying to find the right words for it. It's sitting there and just like even getting under the tongue. Um, there's really really nice kind of a salty but not overpowering flavor. Mm, okay. I think that I wouldn't ice this, but the cooler temperatures that come up is nice and like like it's very mellow. It's not very strong at all, and I'm really thoroughly enjoying it. Yeah, I really super duper hope that there is a link that I can share because I want you guys to taste this. Um, according to Bill Waterston, Mrs. Zhao is legendary in her taste and her specific teas, and so I'm sure that somewhere out there is a um, somewhere out there is like a way to get to them. If there, I'm hoping and hoping that there is a link on the T source because it's going to be this one. I definitely wouldn't want you guys to miss out on. I'm just kind of wondering how it would be after it's aged a little bit longer. Hmm. But I mean, just as it is, it's really really good. Whew, okay. Any other announcements? I don't think that there's going to be any. I don't think that there's going to be any tea party tomorrow. The virtual reality party, um, because I mean, like the weather's still nice outside, and so I want you guys to enjoy it. I'll enjoy it, um, and it's something that's balance is needed for sure. So yeah, yeah, I'm just going to. I'm not going to have a tea party tomorrow. Um, but I guess that's it. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close up shop. So thank you all for joining me once again. Today's blend was once again Mrs. Zhao's Sheng and from 2019. I definitely recommend it, and I will scrounge the internet to get you guys a link because this is just too good to pass up. Until next time, have a wonderful weekend, a great week next week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.